Yes, welcome to another year of the crossover, all thanks to the Sydney Kings. I can fully recommend too, if you would like to take the family out. We were talking earlier about taking the family out and having some fun. It is a great night/afternoon out at Kudos Bank Arena. And so make sure you do get involved with that. sydneykings.com.au for all your ticketing needs. One of the stars that you will see on court this year is Bul Kuol, who has signed a 3-year deal with the Sydney Kings. And I'm very happy to say that he is our first guest for the crossover in 2024. How are you, Bull?
I'm good.
Welcome.
Thank you.
That's good. How you handling living in Sydney town? It can get a little busy at times, right?
It's very busy. I'm still trying to find myself an apartment that I can live in.
Okay.
So that's been, the hunt has been crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm still looking for a spot, still settling in.
Okay. So just you? You got anyone else that's going to live with you?
No, just me.
Just
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Plenty of great spots around the Homebush area, which is, oh no, where do you guys train? Are you over here at East Sydney?
We're at Olympic Park.
Ah,
Yeah.
righto. Okay. All right.
But I'm trying to live somewhere in the west, closer to the CBD, somewhere in the middle where I can go east or west.
Okay. Yeah. Good thinking. Hey, why Sydney? Why Sydney at this stage of your career?
I think it's the next step. It's the appropriate step for me. I really enjoyed my time in Cairns. I love 40, love the whole Cairns atmosphere. But it was just time for me to move on to something bigger. Sydney, they did a good job throughout the process of just building a relationship. And so when it was time for me to move on, it was an easy decision to come here.
Yeah. How much contact during the course of that time did you have with Brian Gorge? And we've had Gorge in here a couple of times on the program. We know how charismatic he is. His record speaks for itself. How big a role did he play?
He played a massive role. So the year prior when Sydney was really talking with me, he wasn't around. He wasn't in the conversation. But when I let Sydney know that I was moving on the next year, Brian, I just hired him. And so when me and him met during free agency, it just became a no-brainer. We was on the same type of mindset, and I know the type of coaching that he is, the pedigree that he has. He's the chemistry that he has on the court with players, but also his charisma, his energy.
Yes.
He's just a fun person to be around, and he's just in terms of his coaching career, you can't match that. And so I wanted to be a part of his story.
How much does he get involved in training? He's 70 years of age.
He's still moving.
Yeah.
He's warming up with the guys.
Right.
He's lifting. He's doing the day-to-day. So he's still moving. He's young. His body may be, he may be old, but he's still young at heart. He's still getting to it.
We had him in about 3 weeks ago, and still look fit.
Yeah,
coming off that campaign. We'll get to your Paris campaign very shortly. What about your teammates there? It's, some guys have been around for a while at Sydney Kings. Lots of new faces as well. Who have you bonded with early doors?
It's been good. I think I'm connecting with everyone. The training sessions have been tough. I'm on the court with the players, and so we just have a lot of guys that around the same age. Brucey is our senior leader.
Yes,
he's probably the one pushing it out of all of us. X is he's kind of like coach. He's the guy that brings everybody together. JA is the same way. Cam. And then you just keep going down. It's a good group of guys. I've connected well with all of them, I'd say.
Xavier Cooks has come back. How's he slotted back into Sydney after, for him, the disappointment of not going to Paris?
He's a true professional. I think he's a high character guy. He's the type of people you want to be around. His personality, his everyday approach. He's one of our best players every day at practice.
Yep.
He's leading that charge. So I think he's just a true high character and a professional.
All right, let's talk about it. We've been mesmerised by the Olympics. Obviously, basketball in this country is growing on an annual basis. A lot of that is the success that the Boomers had in 2021. You went over and represented South Sudan. Tell us about your experience at Paris 2024.
I've never experienced anything like that.
Right.
High-level basketball, basically lived and breathed basketball for a whole month. We started in Rwanda, did our 2-week camp there, and then we went to Madrid, and then we went from Madrid to London, and then from London to Lille. And so it was just pure basketball. And so when we finally got to Paris, we had just gotten used to just living and breathing basketball.
Yep.
You're around the best players in the world playing the best teams in the world, playing the team like Jokic, playing the USA, played Puerto Rico, got our first win there. So it was just there's nothing like that. When I unplugged and came back home, it took some time to readjust back to reality. So,
yeah. There's sort of a couple of experiences. One is going to Paris, which is a legendary, famous city. The other thing is going to the Olympic Games. And then the other part of that is that, as you say, you're playing against the best basketballers on the planet. Did you guys run USA really close in a warm-up game? Is that...
We surprised them. We ambushed them.
So what was that? I think it was the LeBron layup that got them home late, right?
Yeah. I think that game should have been our win. But it just shows just how many guys they got on the squad.
Yeah.
And Kevin Durant wasn't even playing.
Right.
But yeah, we surprised them. They had no idea who we were. They found out pretty quickly. And they were well prepared the second time we played them.
Yeah. Australia's played such a big part in the rise of South Sudanese basketball, and a lot of people from South Sudan, whether first generation or second generation, have gravitated to that sport. Why do you think that is the case, Bull?
I think the opportunities. They're seeing guys like myself, that I like them on such a big stage now on AFL and the NBL, NRL, and then you got the sprinter, the kid that's
Gout.
breaking records. Yeah. So it's like it's becoming a familiar thing, a common thing to see our people during sports in whatever. If you're watching any national sport, you're seeing South Sudanese being represented. And so it's becoming a normal thing. So young kids are seeing that and actually realizing that they can actually achieve that, and it's a reality. It's not just a dream.
Yeah. Why South Sudan as opposed to Australia? Representing from your point of view.
I think with Australia is a little bit more difficult. It's so established. They have so many guys. The amount of guys that they have to pick from. So if you look at the team that we're picking from this year, there was a lot of controversy around who they picked for the team and who they let go because it's just how competitive it is. And so for me, I think it's just the wiser decision to go home. First of all, it's much closer to my heart.
Yes.
It's something that my mom really cares about, my relatives, my family, and so it just means a lot more to me anyways.
Your mum's in Canberra, right? Because we spoke to you a couple of months ago, and I think you told us that your mum had never seen you play a competitive adult game of basketball. That's still the case, right?
She's never seen me play as a pro. She's seen me one time in college when we came down. They really had to force her to come watch. So it's like my grandma, everybody pulled up, so she had no choice.
Right.
But that's about the only time. I think that was 2018.
Okay.
So she's never seen me play as a pro. She can't even watch on TV.
Right.
Yeah. So
tell me she's going to come and see a Kings game this year.
She has no choice. I'm gonna. We're getting her healthy. Getting her moving around, and so once she's feeling good, and she'll have no choice but to come watch.
Okay, is she not healthy at the moment?
She has bad knees and bad back, and so we're getting her into surgery. So she'll be hopping and moving around, hopefully in a couple months.
Get her there with Coach Gorge, and he'll get her moving on the practice court. Hey, you one of these guys that went to the US, so went through the college system, California Baptist and Detroit Mercy over a 5-season period. Is that still the preferred path for young Australian basketball, South Sudanese basketballers to get to that professional level, do you think?
I think it's still up there as well, especially with the NIL being implemented now.
Yes.
Before, the advantage of going pro was that you get to make money immediately, whereas now the NIL has kind of evened the ground. You can still go to college, get your education, still learn. It's incredible coaching in college, still get that exposure, and you get paid to do it. Whereas before, if you go pro, that's the advantage was you get paid straight away.
Yes. Education-wise, how was it for you? Did you enjoy that part of your journey over there in college?
Yes, it challenged me a lot. I went to California Baptist University for 4 years, got my degree there.
In what?
In freaking business administration. I don't know anything about it, so I'm not going to stand here and lie. But I got my business in business admin. My concentration was international business. But
Yeah, cool.
yeah, so
You know what? You've got that in your back pocket now. You never know
yeah,
where that's going to take you,
Yeah.
right, in the years to come too. And don't worry, lots of heavy hitters on that Sydney Kings board. So you can walk in and say, hey, what about that? Robin Denham, for those people who don't know, her organisation has taken over the majority ownership of this. She just happens to be the chair of Tesla,
yeah.
right? So there's opportunity that's going to come your way.
What happens when you're part of the Sydney Kings? It makes sense. Yeah.
That's exactly right. 0457 736 736. If you want to ask Bull a question, whether it be about his time at the Olympics, his time coming up at the Kings, we go into Queensland too. So you've already mentioned, but the success you had with Cairns must obviously bond you with that team as well.
It's a second home to me.
Yep.
They raised me. I went from not being known to 40 giving me a chance. And from there, it was an opportunity that I feel like God presented me, and now because of that, I'm here.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be exciting. The Sydney Kings, as we mentioned earlier, are one of the favourites to win the competition this year, and signings like you are a big reason around that. Bul Kuol, our special guest. It is an episode number 1 of the crossover for 2024-25. It's all thanks to the Sydney Kings. If you're interested in going to a game, and I can thoroughly recommend it, sydneykings.com.au. We're going to take a break. After that, we're back with your questions, and we're going to ask Bull what it was like playing professionally over in France. Crossover on SEN afternoons. It's all thanks to the Sydney Kings. sydneykings.com.au. Get your tickets in that one. Mid-October, isn't it? The start of the NBL season. Bul Kuol, our special guest. What about the text messages that are coming in? This is Dave, right? Hey, mate, I'm thinking of starting a business. Any tips? So you've got your business degree, right?
Oh, I see the connection now. Okay.
Yeah. What do you? Anything for Dave?
Hey man, save more than you spend. As simple as that. Don't eat out. Cook at home.
That's right. Save more than you spend. I like that. Here's another one. The Burley Roller. And when I talk about Burley, I mean Burleigh. So Burley Roller says, with Aaron Baines out of the NBL, who's going to the next opponent you're going to body up on? All the best for the season.
Me, I don't discriminate. I go for everybody. I foul out a lot, yeah.
Love that. What about the upcoming season? Who do you see as the threats with the other teams and the squads they're assembling?
I mean, it's kind of hard to tell now
with
it being so early. I think the Blitz will tell us the truth a little bit. It's not always the truth, but it'll give us a little bit of an indication of where teams are at, and then we'll just build from there.
We mentioned Paris, the Olympics. What about France with Le Mans in the French league? What did you learn out of that experience?
It's a different brand of basketball. It was my first ever introduction to European basketball.
Right.
For my experience there was rough, being injured. I went there injured, and I was injured the whole time. So I never really got to be myself. But I had great teammates that kept me going, kept me level-headed. It was a great experience. I think I learned a lot about basketball.
Yeah, right. Actually, one of the things Coach Gorgon said when he came in was talking about how the Olympics and FIBA basketball is very different to NBA and very different to the NBL. Did you get that sense as well?
Absolutely. It's damn near a different sport.
Right.
The Olympics is a lot more physical. The referees, they officiate the game very different. The style of play. You play to serve your team, it's a very different brand of basketball. They do take fouls, very physical, put their weight on you. They know all the tricks to the game. They're very high IQ. So it's a different brand, and you got to adapt to it. You can't play your own. You really got to figure out how to adapt to it. That
proximity to it, though, literally, is got to be beneficial for you and your development as a player.
Yes. Mentally, I think you learn a lot, and the game is played a lot mentally. And so whenever I do engage in that style of basketball, it just improves my thinking, my approach to the game, but also allows me to play a little bit more physically. Here in FIBA, in the NBL, I can't use my hands. But over there, Coach preaches it out a lot. It's like if you use your chest, whatever the offensive player does, whether they throw their body into your chest, whatever, if you use your chest, they don't call it. So you can be as physical as you want.
Yeah. 3 and D. So 3-point threat too from you, which is, and obviously your athleticism for defence is going to make you a key part of Brian Goorjian's squad for the upcoming season for the Sydney Kings. Mate, great to have you in.
Thank you, boss.
Can't wait till your mum comes in and watches you
I'll
play
let you know.
at Kudos Bank Arena.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you coming in today,
Thank you.
all the very best for season 24-25 for the Sydney Kings.
Thank you, brother.
There he is, Bul Kuol. What a star he is. Lovely fella. And if you've got a spare room around the Homebush area, he's looking for accommodation, so you might be able to help him out. All right, we're going to get ourselves to a break. Then we're wrapping up the program. We've got the start of round 27 of the National Rugby League. It's all happening tonight.